Hello, it's Adam here from Joe. I wanted to make a video today about studying Chinese and a specific part of Chinese pronunciation which a lot of people struggle with, which is the tones. It can be really hard for people at the beginning. I think things like second tone, third tone can be confusing. Some people I've met have actually been put off studying because they just found it too hard. And likewise, when Chinese people listen to you speaking Chinese, if your tones are really off, it can really hinder communication. So this video is for people who want to improve their tones, kind of at different levels. I'm going to address how to improve your tones at different levels. So first, I'd like to address people who haven't been studying that Chinese for that long. In this case, I think the best way to learn tones is actually to not focus on it too much. You want to know what the tones are. When you come across a new word, it's good to familiarize yourself, but you don't need to spend a long time practicing those tones. What you want to focus on is listening and speaking regularly. Because from listening and speaking regularly, you'll develop what I would call understanding of the invisible rhythm of Chinese. Now, the invisible rhythm, I just made that up. For something you don't hear people focus on, the pronunciation is always focused on tones. But really, I don't think tones are the most important thing. When Chinese people learn Chinese as kids, they don't even know what tones are. They just learn naturally. It sounds different to them. Usually, if you aren't sure what tone is on a word and you ask a Chinese friend, they'll just say ma, 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 ma. Sorry, they'll say ma, 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 and they'll try and work it out for themselves, and then they'll be able to tell you. So they kind of work it out backwards rather than just knowing the tones. So that's kind of the natural thing you want to be doing, and if you can replicate that, that will be really helpful for you. So that's definitely where I'd recommend. Also, if you just focus on Lexis, listening, speaking, understanding, able to converse, you're going to be really motivated. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to have lots of conversations with people. They're going to encourage you, and it's going to be really enjoyable. So even so, let me go back to this invisible rhythm point. So an example of that might be that there's a certain fluency to Chinese. You might say, 这样的话, 你们真的要. So this is the kind of thing you want to be focusing on, this rhythm. So for example, a word like because, which is 因为. Often the tones aren't just 因为. Often they might say 因为, and there's almost a different fluency to it. Well, think about like 这个. Really, it should be 这个. But very rarely you see people say 这个. They usually say 这个, and then the goods. So these are the kind of things you won't read from the book. You need to get a feeling for it. If you really pronounce the tones perfectly right from the beginning, it would sound weird. Listen to 我很好 versus 我很好. I didn't develop that from studying the tones, but I know what I'm saying feels right, just from all my experience. So that's where I definitely recommend if you're not quite fluent yet. However, if you're at a higher level, tones could really be the thing holding you back from reaching the next level, from reaching kind of that like mastery, almost native-like level. And for that, there are things you can actually do. And recently, although I've been constantly complimented on my pronunciation, to be honest, not to brag, I realized I still had a bit of a way to go. So what I'd recommend is you actually do a little exercise, which is all about reading. So you're going to do it 3 times. So you're going to take one sentence, you're going to read it 3 times. The first time, I want you to just read in your mind. You're not going to speak out loud, like you're just reading a book in your mind. And you're just going to understand what the sentence means. So you're not worrying afterwards about what the sentence means. You just focus on that. Also, you can kind of read it aloud, but in your head, so you're kind of aware of the sound. The second time, I want you to sound stupid. I want you to sound like the person who's never studied before and just exaggerate the tones. 这样的话, 我们都可以去. Something like that. Then the third time, just ignore tones completely. Just be like, 这样的话我们都可以去. So the third time, you're going to be focusing on the invisible rhythm, on fluency, on being natural. That's going to come from all the experiences you've had of studying. But because you've just looked at the tones the second time, your tones are also going to be a lot better. If you do that every single day, your tones will dramatically increase. And if you want to challenge yourself a bit more, you can skip step number 1. So the first time when you're reading slowly, you're also understanding, so you can kind of increase your comprehension speed. And if you can, this is obviously not always the case, try and find some reading where there's also audio accompanying it, so you can listen to a Chinese voice pronouncing it, that will also help your pronunciation. So that's the advice I would leave you with. If you're on the lower level, if you can't converse fluency, don't focus on that. Focus on other things. Or if you are at the higher level, maybe your pronunciation is already good. Now you want to start practicing those tones just so you can get to the great level. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching.
你好，我问一下，你跟外国人用中文交流的时候，你觉得跟他们交流最大的问题是什么？
就是一个发音的问题。
那什么问题呢？
我觉得外国人经常发音的时候会保持一个声调，就是平音，就是第一个声调。
是所有的单词都是第一声吗？
对，就是第一声。
那如果是这样，你还是听得懂他们说的话吗？
我当然可以，就是因为理解，大部分人都是这么说的，然后所以说可以理解，就是这样。
那你觉得其他的中国人都听得懂他们没有声调人说的话吗？
因为如果说大部分的外国人都有产生这么一个问题的话，那成为一个习惯的话，中国人可能都能理解这个情况这个问题。